Everyone, welcome to BlueSync on this Thursday, September 12th, 2024. Believe it or not, fall is upon us. We are going to be talking about all things Google Meet, which I know is a little bit funny because we're on Zoom, but that's okay. We do a lot of our huddles, our meetings, our calls, agent contact. We do a lot of that through Google Meet. So we're going to talk about some tips and tricks today to make everybody's life a little bit easier. So the first thing that I want to show you is that you can go to meet.google.com, excuse me, to get to your Google Meet landing page. So it'll show you your upcoming calls. You can do a new meeting if you would like to. A lot of different settings are found right here. But if you want to start a new meeting right away, you can actually just go to meet.new and it's going to pull you right into a meeting. So now you get two of me, which nobody wants, but that's okay. It's just for purposes here to show you. So you'll see it automatically pops you into a meeting. You can add others here. You can copy that call right here and send it to somebody. This is great if you're going to need to do a screen share real quick with somebody. Maybe you're helping an agent try to get into testimonial tree or Moxie or whatever it might be. It's a great way to automatically create a new meeting, copy the link, pop it over to them, whether you text it to them, send it in chat, email, whatever it might be, and you have a meeting immediately ready to go at your fingertips. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one. And so now we're going to go back to this screen. So this is the screen that you're all used to seeing. You have a calendar invite, you click the link, maybe somebody sent it to you in a chat. So you click the link and it brings you here first. Now there's a lot of things that you can do on this screen that can set you up for meeting success. And so you want to check some of these settings before. We've all had that happen, right? We've all jumped on calls, your mic didn't work, your camera didn't work, your background was weird, like mine was earlier today because my logo was backwards. So all of those things kind of can go awry. So if you want to just take a few moments before you join the call, you can check some of these settings right here. So the first thing that you want to check is your microphone and your camera. Now, if you're like me, you're constantly moving your system, you're going from one to the other. Maybe you're in a conference room setting up a call for a manager or an agent. So you're never quite sure what microphone, especially if you're using a headset or AirPods or something like that. So right here underneath is where you can check that. So your mic, you can check here. It's going to let you know if you just start talking, it's going to let you know that it's picking up right away. It gives you your options as well. So if it's defaulting to something you don't want, you can change it right here. Same with your camera. It's going to let you know that your camera is being picked up. If you have more than one option, maybe you have a laptop camera, but you also have a webcam, it's going to let you choose that option there. And then you can also test your speakers on the middle option by clicking the button. And it plays you a fun little song. Then you know your speakers are working. We've had it where we thought that maybe our mic wasn't working, but the person on the other side simply just had it on mute by accident. So those things can happen. So if you check these first, it's a really good way to set your call up for success. You also have the opportunity to change your background from right here, right? Maybe you are in a conference room that you're not usually in. Maybe you had to take the call because you were traveling and you're just not sure what your background might look like. You can apply your visual effects here. So when you click on that, you have the options to filter if you want to. You can upload a personal background if you would like, or it gives you these options here. So when you click on it, it's going to go ahead and tell you that you now have one layer on that background. So if you do something like slightly blur it, it takes that filter off so you can see you still have one. So lots of options. Now, if you have a background and you want to also put on a fun filter, maybe you want some crazy hair, it'll then tell you that you have two layers on. So you're like, oh my gosh, I have an important meeting. I can't have crazy hair. If you go to your layers, you can remove all, or you can just remove one of those. So that's what that number is right there. And it allows you to really customize what you want to look like on your virtual call. Now, of course, there's some fun things. Now I'm an astronaut. So you can go through here. You can be fun and silly. If it's a fun and silly call, maybe it's an ASC huddle and you guys are just having some camaraderie and just some team building. You can do some fun things like that. Or if you need to be more serious, you can put on a very professional looking background. Now there's lots and lots of options here. As you can see, it just kind of keeps going, but you also have the opportunity to add your own as well if you would like. So again, all of that is done right here. Now, if you are running the meeting and maybe you need to share your screen, but you also need to pay attention to the people on the call because you're kind of moderating maybe for your manager, we have this option now called use companion mode. What this does is it opens up a secondary Google Meet, but it automatically mutes it and it automatically shuts off your camera. It can be a really good way, especially on dual screens, if you're trying to keep an eye on the attendees, but you also need to be screen sharing. It can be a really good way to be able to collaborate a lot more easily if you are the one that is kind of running that call. So keep in mind that that is an option there. If you are having audio issues down here and you just can't get it to work and you have to jump on, you always have the opportunity to join using the audio on your phone. So you do have that option as well. If your system's not working, your speakers and your mic goes out, don't panic. You can absolutely use the phone as well. So we're going to go ahead and join in this so I can show you a few more options. So once you're in here, you have a couple of options down here in your three little dots. The first one is you can change your layout. So if you want to just see the speaker, you can do spotlight. If you want to see the speaker large, but you want to keep an eye on everybody else, you can do sidebar. You can do auto, which it will make it happen for you, or you can do tiled, which is the default. You also have the opportunity down here to how many tiles do you want to see? Do you want to Brady bunch it with 12? 9, or is it 12? Doesn't matter. Or do you want to go more? So maybe if you are on a full office meeting and you've got 25 people on and you want to be able to interact with each and every one of them, you can increase the amount of tiles that you have here. You also have the option to hide tiles without video. There's nothing worse than being on a video call and having nobody else's face and everybody's got their camera off, right? Nobody likes that. But sometimes it's necessary, especially in a bigger group call. A lot of people will shut their video off. So if you don't have to worry about their square that just has their name or their initials, you can actually choose to hide those tiles. So you're only seeing people that are interacting with that video. So that's a really nice option as well. You also have the option to pin the speaker. So we all know if everybody's collaborating and different people are talking, the screen can tend to change, especially if you have a lot of people on it and you don't have your tiles set to show everybody, it can move your screen around. So whether it's somebody's presenting some data or they are the ones speaking, if you hover over their button or their face, their tile, you can click the little pin. That will pin them right there. That means no matter what you do with your layout, no matter how many people call in or leave or whatnot, or change their video option, they'll be pinned right there so that you will always have them and you'll be able to see them and they won't go to a secondary page if there's too many people on it. If you're asked to record a meeting, it's kind of hidden. You would think it'd be in the options, but it's not. If in the lower right corner, it's an activities tab. It's kind of like a triangle, a square, and a circle. If you click on that, it's right here. So it gives you the opportunity to record, but you do actually have to click through yet again, start recording. It says ready to record. It lets everybody know you're recording, and then it sends you the recording. Now, after the call, you don't have to go find the recording. Once it's done doing what it does to get to the cloud, it actually just sends you an email with a link to the video recording. Now, sometimes people get tripped up because they forget who organized the meeting, right? Maybe your managers asked you to do it, so you're the organizer, or maybe they went and did it and then just invited you to help moderate. Whoever the organizer is, whoever created that meeting, they're the ones that are going to get that email with that recording in there. So keep that in mind if you're trying to find the recording and you're just not sure where it's at. Sometimes people get tripped up when it comes to screen sharing. We all know everyone's a little different. Zoom does it kind of one way. Google Meet does it a way. If you're on Microsoft Teams, they have a different way. So for Google Meet, it is down here in the middle. It's present now, and you have all the options. You can share just a tab. You can share an entire window, or you can share an entire screen. So this is important, especially for those of us that operate more than one monitor. First, you want to make sure you're on the right monitor, and you want to make sure you're sharing the right tab. Now, if you're doing a training and say you're going from Dotloop, which is a browser, maybe to the MLS, which is a different browser, maybe to a Word doc, which is a different program, make sure you're sharing your entire screen. It makes it a lot easier when you're going back and forth between different media. Now, if you're just sharing online cloud, so you're going, from MLS to email to Dotloop, that's all Google Chrome browsers, you can share you can share that whole window so that you're making sure that you're sharing exactly what you need to see. So keep in mind, there are different options when it comes to sharing, but that on Google Meet is found down right here. Now, if you're in a big meeting and the moderator is like, raise your hand if you have a question, they don't mean this. They don't mean to raise your hand here. Right here is that option. You can raise your hand. It makes a little bit of noise, and then it's going to show on your box, your tile, to whoever is presenting that you have your hand rose. So they will get answer to you. When you click it again, hand goes down once they've answered your question or whatnot. That gives you the opportunity. We also have some fun emojis here. Who doesn't love fun emojis, right? So if somebody has good news, you can congratulate them. If it's something funny, you can give them the, crying tears of joy emoji. Lots of different things here. You can heart things. You can thumbs down things if it's not such great news. So kind of a fun feature right there in the middle. Now, along with collaboration, we mentioned you can do the companion mode. There is one other option back in the activities option to do whiteboarding. So this will allow you to start a whiteboard, which is if you think of a physical whiteboard where you have markers, you draw on it, maybe you're doing flow charts, whatnot. It gives you the opportunity to do that right in Google Meet here. You can draw on it, the attendees can draw on it. It's a great way to collaborate. Just a few more tips and we'll be done. The next one is kind of cool and it allows you to enable captions. So maybe your speakers aren't working great. Maybe there's a lot of noise in your office. Maybe there's a happy hour going on or whatnot, and you're just having a hard time hearing. You can turn on captions right here. This is going to go ahead and caption everything that you're saying or everything the speaker is saying. So it will let you read it along with trying to listen to it. So again, if you're having speaker issues or you're having a hard time hearing, go ahead and turn on your captions. It's a really nice feature. Now you also have the opportunity in settings. So if you go to your three dots and go to settings and go to captions, you can actually change the language on here. This is a little known fact, but it can be really useful, especially if you are having a bilingual client that maybe you're not exactly fluid in their language. This can be a good way to translate. So it's can be a really good tool if we're struggling with a language barrier. You can actually translate into a different language. So if you're trying to explain something to a buyer, let's say, that doesn't maybe have English as their first language, and it's a different language, you can talk to them through the video chat. You can do the captions and it will translate it for them. So it's kind of a cool feature there. And you can see as I've been talking, if you've been watching the words on the screen, it's pretty accurate. It's actually pretty impressive, the captioning. Not only is it timely, but it's pretty accurate to the language that you're actually speaking. So cool feature there. Let's see. I think that is the last tip I wanted to show you. Also, when you turn on captions, that setting is actually available right there if you catch it fast enough, but it does go away. So if you go to the three dots, you can go to settings, go to captions. You can also get to your audio video settings here, your general settings. Lots of different options are found in those three little dots, but keep in mind recording and whiteboarding are all found over here in the activities tab. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for a moment. I'll shut off the captions because it's a lot. And I'll just go ahead and get rid of that so you don't have to see two of me anymore. What questions do you guys have for me today on Google Meets? If you haven't used some of these enhanced features, I highly recommend doing so, especially the fun ones. If you're on a huddle with your teammates, maybe it's an ASC huddle, maybe it's a commission specialist huddle, so you're on with your teammates. Highly recommend just having a little bit of fun with some of those settings. Some of the other settings can be really useful when it comes to staying organized and collaborating. Yes, companion screen. So that is a good question. I've actually not used it myself, but I can see a lot of use cases that it would come in handy. So when you click use companion mode, you'll see that it launches me into here. So my video is off, my audio is off. I have no way of communicating either visually or through voice on the companion mode, but I can share my screen. So I can share all of my screen. So if I am doing that, you can see that it has everything muted here, but you can also have a second instance of this meeting opened on your other monitor that you could have all of the visuals showing. So it allows you to have two different instances of the same meeting open. One, so you can kind of keep an eye on the video tiles to see the attendees, and the other one so that you can be sharing your screen, but it does it without video, without audio. So it allows you to not have that feedback that we've all heard a lot when people have two instances open or there's two people in the same room with that call open.
Carrie, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the whiteboard, just as you would get a link if you record the meeting, for the whiteboard, if you collaborate, would you get a copy of that? Would it be sent to you? Can you print it? Can you save it?
Let me go
for the
back in
whiteboard?
here and show you. Once that pops open, we'll give it here a minute. So you'll see that you have the opportunity to share it. You'll also have the opportunity to download it as a PDF. You can make a copy of it. You can go ahead and I do believe, I thought there was a print option here somewhere, but maybe I'm mistaken. So you do have the option to do some of these to save that information. When you go back into your history on Google Meet, it should also have a availability for you to view it there as well. Good questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What else do you guys got for me? All right, wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for your time today. As always, if you're in here playing around with settings, you have more questions, or if it's not working the way you thought it should work, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Thanks so much for your time today. I appreciate it. Bye now.